I want to rock right now. I rock pieces and I can't get now. I'm not internationally known, but I'm known to rock the microphone. I said, I get stupid. I mean outrageous. Stay away from me if you're contagious. Ladies love me. Girls adore me. I mean, even the ones who never saw me, like the way that I rhyme at a show. If you something, then you ain't know. Say, yeah.
And I turn the middle finger
Yeah.
and I turn the middle side.
Have a nice day. That's for you, sir. That's for you, sir. But yo, anyway, for those of you all who are watching this either for the first time, the 84th time, or whatever time, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, and I am one of your hosts. I go by the name of Superjaz.
Superjaz.
Why you say it so like menacingly that time?
Huh?
As nature intended? Question mark? Like I said, I go by the name of Superjaz, SJ, Jazz, JT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And as always, I am also joined on this journey by the other host of the show.
Y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis, feogrande on YouTube, sometimes referred to as Pete on the show. I'm doing good as well. Huh?
Now, I said, now with the seductive whisper, sometimes referred to as Pete. But like I said, everyone, yes, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about whatever we want. We do not lead this conversation. This conversation leads us, and we let these chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday. And wavy.
Even if they're wavy lays.
Still every Wednesday. I got nothing.
All you had to do was say some like every Wednesday type shit. You're like, oh.
Every Wednesdays. But yeah. All right.
So you were saying?
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Good.
I feel pretty good.
It's October. It's October. You know what that means. Means a lot of things.
It's coming out. Halloween Ends is coming out. I believe the week that we put this bitch out, Halloween Ends is coming out.
Huh.
You say you know what that means. Yes, I can't wait for that movie. I'm not even a scary movie dude.
Cool.
But I'm not a scary movie guy, but I like a good movie. And I feel like the Halloween, I haven't seen any movies between Halloween 2 and the Halloween 2018 remake. I haven't seen anything between those.
Fair.
But from the first Halloween, Halloween 2, and then the 2018 remake and Kills, I think they're really well-made movies in general. So I just like a good movie. Sometimes a good movie means a motherfucker's gonna die. so there you go. But no, you talk about, you know what that means? It's like, yeah, I can't wait to see what they're going to do to end, in quotes, because this shit's supposed to end a long fucking time ago and still ain't ended, but end in quotes, one of the biggest, not just horror, but movie franchises ever.
True.
So, that's the thing with horror movies, man. The motherfuckers go on forever and ever and ever and ever. And they say, we're going to end it. And then they do end it. And then 10, 15 years later, they fucking reboot that motherfucker. And it's done. Like fucking Saw. What was it? Saw 3D, which was like technically Saw 7, Saw 3D was the last one. And I want to say that was like 07 or 08, maybe 09. And then 9 years later, in 2018, they rebooted with Jigsaw. It was like, bitch, it was over. It was over. That's why I say, I think Halloween, I didn't see H2O, but I think it was supposed to end with H2O back in like 98.
Probably. Sounds
Because
about right.
they called it H2O because it was the 20th, anniversary of the first one, which was 78, 98. Yeah. You know that?
No.
You just think they were just talking about Halloween water?
I don't know. Maybe he drowned people that movie, or they just want it to sound cool.
Mike Myers is like, oh man, all this chasing people makes me thirsty, and pulls out a fucking Dasani. What the fuck? The hell? Yeah. No. H2O Halloween 20. It was the 20th anniversary, 98. Yeah. Gotcha. I think it's supposed to end. I think it was supposed to end again. I think it's supposed to end when what's his name? Rob Zombie rebooted the shit when he made his two movies on it and everything like that. We need my friend Jeremy on this. You think I made a decent amount of movies? Shout out to my dude Jeremy. That motherfucker. He's seen so many fucking movies. It's like out of 10 movies you could name.
All right.
This dude has seen all 10 of them.
Probably.
So yeah, you even could start naming like, because he's a white guy, you could even start naming like black shit, and there's a good chance that he may not have seen one or two of them.
That doesn't mean that they wouldn't, just because they're white, that they wouldn't have seen the black shit.
I'm not saying he's staying away from it like fuck black people. Like, oh, you're one of the good ones, Jazz. No, I'm not saying that. Oh I know. I made that joke, everybody. It's okay. I made that joke. I did. It's okay. We're good. Okay. No, I'm talking about cultural differences.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I'm well aware. I have a show where we talk about movies.
Pretty much.
And I have gone to, and because my white friend has seen more movies than I have gone to the black movies well to find movies that he hasn't seen a few times.
You just saw a cultural differences movie. Y'all just reviewed one.
Oh yeah, Bamboozled I think was last week, right?
Yeah. I had not seen that. I remember when I was younger, my mom rented it from Blockbuster or something, and I remember her like watching it, but obviously I didn't watch it. Was it good? Objectively, like black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a Spike Lee joint.
Which means it's symbolic as fuck, because all his movies have heavy symbolism.
Yeah, it's a Spike Lee joint. It's a heavy watch.
But it probably should be heavy though, depending on like the subject matter.
It's pretty dated, for better or worse.
Okay.
Like the camera shot and stuff, and they try some things here and there. It's weird. It's not a bad movie. It's not like a great one. I would still watch it if I were you. Yeah, I would suggest watching it. There were some choices that keep it from being great.
Okay.
But yeah, I would still suggest that, it's worth a shot to watch. Just know that you're in for a heavy watch, because hell, I even put a disclaimer in front of
I did see that. I didn't watch it because I hadn't seen the movie, but I did see that you're
like, hey, there's a lot of racial things, because the premise of the movie, like, I won't go into detail about the plot or nothing. You want to see that, watch the movie, and/or watch This Guy Hasn't Seen on YouTube, the review where we talk about Bamboozle. However, there's a black TV writer, producer, played by Damon Wayans, who needs an idea for a show, and he eventually gets pissed off with his superiors, and he tries to make a show that'll get him fired. And he decides to make a minstrel show, a modern day minstrel show. Unfortunately, it ends up being a big success.
And it's black people in blackface, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about blackface. There's a lot of racial issues that come. Well, there's a lot of racial talk, which also leads to a lot of racial terms and words that aren't necessarily the best to be saying. And yeah. So it's heavy from that regard, but it has some good performances in it, some questionable performances, and some good direction, questionable direction choices. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's some things that keep it from being like great, but I kind of see what they were going for. Also, Savion Glover tap dances. He's a fucking amazing at tap dancing.
I miss him tap dancing. He used to tap dance his ass off in almost everything.
He's one of the main characters in that.
I guess he just, and I mean this in like the least offensive way possible, because it might sound bad, or maybe it doesn't, but it feels like it will. But no, I guess he just got a little older.
Maybe.
Because he used to tap dance in fucking everything, man.
Yeah.
He was the shit. He would like tap dance. I remember he would, they had him at the end of, towards the end of Showtime at the Apollo. Yeah. And you remember whenever they would, the one dude, Sandman, would come out in different costumes and usher you off, but Savion would come and tap dance you off. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
And he would tap dance in tennis shoes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be something crazy about that. I don't know if
It's long, too.
Oh, how long is it?
Like... I'd say like I think it's like 2.5. I want to say.
I was gonna say movies start to be long when they hit the 2.5 hour mark.
Yeah, and it feels long because the heaviness, some of the choices they make. I feel like there's probably a good half hour that they could have taken of stuff they could have taken out. And that would have raised the rating more. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I'm also not going to be like, it's perfection. You should fucking hang yourself if you haven't seen this movie. Nothing like that.
Interesting choice of words based on
Look, man.
I'm fucking wait.
Kill yourself. How about that? I just wanted to say something. No, I'm saying to replace the words hang with kill.
No, I know, but Jesus, I got you. I was making a fucking stupid. I was making it.
Look at Chip Skylark with your shiny teeth.
Oh,
because of the light. Every once in a while, you're like me talking at a certain angle, and there's like a glisten off like one of your front teeth.
Shout out to me not having my light bulb in my lamp, so I have to improvise. And my dude Pete said, "Hey, how about your phone flashlight?" So we're gonna try this for right now. People watching. What was I gonna say? No, you want to talk about when shows jump the fucking shark? Obviously, you used to watch Fairly Odd Parents. Do you remember? I mean, we got older as it was airing anyway.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they added Poof?
I know that's when everyone started. Hey, that's what everyone says is what made it the worst, and I could agree. I didn't really watch it that heavily my damn self. I understood that why it was a phenomenon. I just never got around to.
Oh, you never really watched Fairly Odd Parents, like, period.
Like, I've seen a lot of like clips / episodes here or there, but to be like, oh yeah, I remember the time when Timmy did the blah 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 blah. Nah, I can't. I cannot hold like a 30-minute Fairly Odd Parents conversation with somebody.
Fairly Odd Parents was the shit back in the day, but like I said, I
can't even do that with SpongeBob. Like both of those shows, I think around when they came out, the cartoons that I was liking were starting to go off the air. And so I'm just thinking like, oh, these kids got their new cartoons. I don't want to watch the new shit. And then I'm like, well, this is cool, but I'm also getting older now. I'm in high school now. I can only watch certain things, but I did start getting into anime, and I felt really ashamed about being into anime as it was. Because, I was weird.
It's funny how when you're younger, a year makes like all the fucking difference in the world. But when you get older, a year's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm getting older, man. I don't know if I can watch these. But now, you start hitting your...
Having recently gotten older, I can say yes.
In your mid-20s, your late 20s, especially when you hit your 30s, it's like, what's a year? But when you're 12 and 13, it's just like, oh, man, you're not even a teenager yet. Oh, shit. It's just like a big-ass difference. It's like when you hit 10 and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm 10, you're 9. Man, I'm double digits. You're not even there yet. It's like, It's just such a big fucking deal. Like, dude, I'm 15, you're just 14. It's like, I'll hang with you, but certain stuff we might not be into. It's like, bitch, I'm 29, you're 30, and it's just funny how, yeah. I remember the one show that was so funny looking back. I say Powerpuff Girls was the show that like all the dudes back in the day, we used to be like, we can't watch that show. That show's for girls. But every dude used to kind of watch Powerpuff Girls anyway. So
Yeah.
we just like, that's for girls.
Definitely a guilty pleasure for a lot of people, myself included.
Right. The one show that was geared towards like girls that I could not get into was My Life as a Teenage Robot.
That was geared toward girls. I didn't watch it at all.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. Well, it's like 5 o'clock, get a call to go blading at the skate park down at the mall, or something plain and say, I wish I could go for a walk without rusting in the rain. Yes,
Oh, fair enough.
because it was a female teenage robot. So.
A show that a lot of my friends got into around when I was in high school, or look, friends my age, there were a lot of shows that a lot of them got into when they were younger that I was like, I refuse. This is for girls. Was Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it was geared towards girls. Easy.
Yes, I know it was geared toward girls, but I still have a lot of male friends who got into that show. And I was like, in high school, I was like, nah, I can't have this on. Even though I wouldn't have to tell anybody that I watched it, I'm like, I can't be known as a guy that watches Sailor Moon. My reputation already ain't that big. And back then, it wasn't as in to be, of the community with the acronym.
We know what you get. You don't have to go there. We know what you get.
It wasn't as cool to do it back then. So definitely I did not want to be known about that because I wasn't. And I was like, nah, man. And in high school, no girlfriend, and the confidence levels were so low, I wasn't going after girlfriends, because I'm like, what's the fucking point? They all hate me anyway, weird shit that you think when you're young. And that led to like rumors that I was gay, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm not, damn it. And for when Sailor Moon came up, like, even though I was getting into anime, I'm like, I can't watch this. I already have enough rumors that I'm gay. Watching Sailor Moon would definitely be irreparable to my reputation.
Irreparable.
My reputation would be irreparable. But that's weird thinkings of a high schooler. Calm down, people. I'm not phobic or anything.
No, of course not.
That was what I thought in high school. Now, then I get older, I realize like so many people watched it. Did that make me go back and watch it? No. Yeah, at this point, nah. I ain't trying to watch no 14-year-old and running around in skirts.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, but it was. I remember thinking when I discovered Sailor Moon, I remember being like, this feels like just, in a sense, it felt. Obviously, it was very different. But it felt kind of like a female Dragon Ball Z.
Well, phenomena-wise, that's what it was.
And it felt like it felt like it was a cross between. Not a cross between, but it felt like it had elements of DBZ, and it had elements of Power Rangers.
Well, I mean, yeah. Japan.
Yeah. Because
Japan.
Because I got that. Power Rangers was American, but they stole the fuck out of that show. Super Sentai thieving ass bitches. Oh man.
I'm not even sure. Like some of it stole, but it's also more like because some of those clips are from, I think, at least for like the 90s stuff. Some of them were from Super Sentai, and it's like I'm not even sure if it was stole or they just worked with them.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because they would have had to have been sued a long time ago by Super Sentai because they were legit Super Sentai clips.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, that the stuff where they put the helmet. Because the thing is, if I'm wearing a helmet and you can't see my eyes with gloves and a full body suit,
yeah,
it doesn't matter who is in that fucking suit, who's in it beforehand, the person after. So when we switch, it could be a whole white dude and an Asian Japanese person in the suit. It don't matter. They just dub it over with voiceovers and shit.
Exactly.
So no, yeah. So they could pretend though all over that shit. The only person when they really dubbed the Super Sentai shit that you actually saw the face of was Rita.
Yeah.
Because what was it? Goldar, Lord Zed, all the Rangers, Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha was with them in person in America too, though. But all of them were like wearing some type of mask. Rita was the only one that like, had some shit on. That's why
Richard Horvitz voicing Alpha. Zordon. I think he also went on to voice Billy from Billy and Mandy. I could be wrong though. Or the dude from Invader Zim, I forget. He did a lot of shit though.
2 shows I could not get into.
He did a lot of shit.
I couldn't get into Invader Zim or Billy and Mandy. And one of the main reasons I couldn't get into either one of those shows was because you like what you like, people, but they had so many moments where they were just like highlighting the nastiness.
Gross out
I
humor.
picked my nose. Look at this fat ass, very detailed drawn booger.
So you didn't like Ren and Stimpy either?
At times. I watched it at times.
But that's also what Ren and Stimpy did.
What is the difference between what Ren and Stimpy did?
Like gross out humor and stuff? I feel like Ren and Stimpy leaned
Ren and
more
Stimpy did it
into,
worse.
I feel like Ren and Stimpy leaned more into gross out humor than those other two. Well, I don't know about Zim. I didn't watch a lot of Zim my damn self.
No, but Ren and Stimpy definitely did it worse, and that's why I still say to this day, Ren and Stimpy that show was not for kids. That show was
when
not.
they tried to bring it back, they brought it back as like an adult show, or on Spike TV television for men.
Because it was not for children. And it was playing on Nickelodeon like it was and shit. Like, dude, this show. They were doing references like I think Ren was supposed to be a lumberjack, and he's like sawing this like wood or whatever the fuck. But the wood, the way Stimpy was bent over, the wood was like at Stimpy's ass, and the saw had a curve and was coming out of Ren's crotch, and he was like sawing. It was just like they fucking. It's like, what are y'all doing?
Oh,
it's for
goodness.
children, and it was. And he's just like, they making random noises and shit. I'm like, this ain't for children. I guess the difference that Ren and Stimpy did, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but as nasty as Ren and Stimpy was, I could get into Ren and Stimpy a little bit more than I could Invaders and Billy and Mandy, even though Ren and Stimpy did the disgustingness like more.
Yeah.
It was much more in your face. And it's almost like Ren and Stimpy did like a fuck you about how nasty they were. Like, we're nasty, and bitch, look at it.
Yeah. Billy and Mandy, while again I didn't watch like religiously or nothing. I've seen a few episodes and shit of it, and it when it's funny, when it's not. But it has some banger. To put it like the kids say, it has some bangers of episodes, and that are hilarious. But for the most part, I kind of was like not that big on Billy and Mandy either, just because of Billy, really. The character.
I was just about to say one thing I couldn't get into with both of those shows. Both of the characters talked very hyper obnoxious and sounded like the stupidest motherfuckers.
Well,
but they were just like
voiced by the same guy, so
there you go. Them was like, I'm going to control the world with the baby hair.
To be fair, that's I think Billy is only a slight exaggeration, but Alpha Billy Zim, that's kind of just how the dude sounds by default.
Well, Alpha,
not the stupid part, but the like the weird, like the pitch to it is the like when he's trying to be like when Billy's being stupid, no, but like just trying to talk like a normal person. Dude's voice is fucking weird and unique, which is a good, and I'm saying this in a good sense because it means he pretty much had a job wherever he fucking went. I actually envy. I don't like my voice. While I like myself, I've always wished I had a more unique voice.
Are you saying his speaking voice is unique?
Yes, his actual voice is weird. he sounds like a cartoon character when he talked. Because I saw him at a convention once. Because I remember I mentioned like I saw Billy West and some other people, and Fry sounds a lot like Billy West's default voice. But yeah, Richard Horvitz was at one of those conventions, and I saw a panel with him. And at first, I thought he was just doing voices like from his characters, but then after a while, the longer he would talk or tell random stories, I'm like, this is just how dude sounds. Wow, lucky bastard. Like, he probably got made fun of as a kid, but yeah, I'd go into voice acting too.
Channeled that shit, made it work for him.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, I'd go into voice acting too. Childhood had to suck. Kids
Alpha
just making fun of him.
Alpha did not come off as like obnoxious as Zim and
maybe
Billy.
not obnoxious, but that also wasn't Adam or Alpha's role. It was more so Alpha, the high pitched, weird, not nasally, but I've never been good at describing things. But yeah, it's so weird. But he's still a great voice actor. I don't want to take anything away from him.
No, of course not. I will say another reason why I didn't like Zim and Billy and Mandy too, though, was that I never found them shows funny.
Again, they were hit and miss for me, which is why I didn't watch them religiously. But when they hit, when Billy and Mandy at least hit, there's a few episodes that were actually really funny. But for the most part, I was changing the channel.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So bad. That I kind of found Grim hilarious because, you know, Jamaican Grim Reaper dude, for whatever reason.
One show that and this show came when I hit high school, so I wasn't watching cartoons as much as I have been. Except, well, I was watching the ones that I knew, but I wasn't really discovering new cartoons as much as I had been. But then my friends were into it, so I was like, they started watching it, and my initial thought was to hate on the shit. So I was like, making little joke hates on the shit. Then I was like, wait a minute. So I watched it. I was like, I'm just kind of being a hater because this show is good. Was Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I like that shit. Yeah,
Foster's was better than I initially thought as well. Although once Cheese started showing up, I was like,
Cheese? Who was Cheese?
I
remember Blue and Coco and Wilt.
The main character is Mac.
Mac was the guy.
Eventually Cheese. I forget exactly how Cheese came into being, but the whole point of Cheese was that he was annoying as fuck, even to Mac. He was like a secondary imaginary friend for whatever reason of Mac's, I think. Yeah, Blue was obviously Mac's first friend.
That was his. Yeah.
But he
went like Cheese, right?
Cheese, yeah. But no, I liked Wilt. I liked Eduardo.
I remember
the big
name.
Purple one. Potatoes?
Shit, I don't remember.
Potatoes? I like potatoes and blah, 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 blah. Yes.
God,
yes was Fred Fredberger.
I didn't watch it.
There was the big furry purple one. He was in every episode. He's part of the main crew. He had horns and stuff. He really liked potatoes. His name was Eduardo. Or maybe I got the name wrong. I thought it was Eduardo. I might be stupid.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah. The big horns and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was shitting on that show. Like I said, like my initial thought was, what is this? And I was making all these jokes and like shitting on it while they were watching it, obnoxiously making like all like jokes and joning on the shit while they watching it. And I started watching it more and more. I'm like,
what did you think of Johnny Test?
No.
All right, I agree. Johnny Test was a show I think I wanted to like when I first saw it, just because, not that the theme song was classic or anything, but it was enough to pique my interest.
Wasn't it like Johnny Test or some shit like that?
Yeah, but as I got older, I realized it was not funny, and it was literally just, here's Reverse Dexter's Laboratory, but not funny.
Yeah.
It's like genius twin sisters that look like Fem Dexters with the blonde, annoying younger brother. Instead of a secret lab, everyone in the family knows they have a lab. You got, instead of having the genius rival, you had the doofus rival, but he's rich. And I hated the bling bling. The second the dude called himself Bling Bling Boy, I hated it. I was like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Bling Bling Boy? Y'all are overusing the term bling bling.
I didn't watch the show enough.
I'm just telling you. This is something
I didn't watch the show enough.
I told you. I wanted to like it. But I didn't. Also, instead of a stay-at-home mom with a working dad, it was a stay-at-home dad working mom.
So they did just pretty much see. I didn't know.
It literally was just reverse Dexter's Laboratory, and instead of being funny, it sucked. Like all the way through.
The last one though.
They did have a Pokemon episode that was a parody that we saw once, and got a chuckle out of us because there was a thing that pretty much did the Magikarp Gyarados style transformation, where it was something that was really, really useless, and then turned out, oh shit, this is one of the best things ever. Like Magikarp to Gyarados.
Magikarp to Gyarados, yeah. Because I couldn't get into American Dragon Jake Long either.
Me neither.
That shit. That seemed like, now maybe if I discovered it when I was 10.
Maybe
it would have been a shit, but I remember watching it being like, this is the most tryhardiest, not funny shit. Mm-hmm. Now, something that I did discover well into getting older, doubled back and was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. This is some good shit, was Phineas and Ferb. That show was so fucking good. And I discovered it, well into my formative.
I know there's Phineas,
years.
There's Ferb, there's Doofenshmirtz or something.
Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah, Doofenshmirtz and a platypus.
Perry the platypus, and there was their sister Candace. So the whole thing was Phineas was a genius. Ferb was a genius too, but he was like a little kind of weird, didn't talk much, but he was like one of those always kind of solving shit type things. But he didn't talk too much, but he wasn't stupid or nothing. So they were best friends. Candace, I believe, was Phineas's sister, and they would always be making shit. Bitch. But they would always be making shit, and Candace was always trying to bust them for it. Like, Mom, Phineas and Ferb made a blah blah blah. Mom, Phineas and Ferb did this and this and this and this. Mom, and always trying to get them caught up in it, but she could never quite catch them.
Gotcha.
And the whole point of it was that every episode some crazy shit would happen, and then Phineas and Ferb would make some whatever, and it was always some kid shit or whatever. I don't remember exactly, but let's say we want to make the perfect machine that's gonna get cookies and milk the best or some shit like that. It would just be some kid shit, and she would always try to bust them for it or whatever, but she would never actually bust them, and that'd be the whole point of the episode. And it was always a music number every episode, depending on the genre, whether it be rap or pop or country or whatever. It was always some music shit, and that was cool as fuck too. And the whole Doofenshmirtz thing was Doofenshmirtz was the arch nemesis. He was a dumbass. He was a mad scientist genius, but he was a dumbass. And Perry the platypus was their pet, Phineas and Ferb's pet. And whenever they were watching him, he just looked like a regular platypus, didn't do shit. But whenever they weren't, come to find out,
into a detective outfit.
He had on a fedora, and he was like a cool ass fucking secret agent that was saving the world, and they didn't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was always thwarting Doofenshmirtz and shit. I remember discovering that shit towards the end of my teens, maybe 17, 18, some shit like that. And I was like, oh, this show is good. That was a good ass show. That was a good ass show.
Fair. Did you ever watch Shaolin Showdown?
Yeah. The Lemonhead dude?
Yeah, Umi.
Yeah. I like that
Omi.
show.
Omi. Yeah, Omi, Kiniko, Raimundo, and Clay.
Yeah. Damn, I ain't thought about that show in a second. But yeah,
Right. I watched the hell out of the first season of that, and I know they had later seasons where you had Catnape, obviously Jack Spicer, and everybody else. But I remember so little about that show. I remember Omi wanted to be the Dragon Warrior. I think at the end of the day, it ended up being Raimundo, I think. By the end of the series, it wasn't Omi. One of the four of them was gonna be, and Omi's whole thing was, and the whole reason I watched it to begin with, like the whole reason I gave it a shot is I'm like, look at this Krillin looking motherfucker.
Yeah, just yellow.
Short, bald, dots on his head. Now, obviously, the bald and dots on his head was a monk tradition. I did not know that. I was an ignorant American youth. What do I know of other cultures? Huh?
I didn't know that the dots was a thing.
Yeah, that the bald dots thing. It's more of a monk thing as opposed to Krillin's trademark and someone's ripping it off. It's probably got to do with like 6 things as Hinduism and stuff like that. I don't want to say, or Buddhism or whatever. Probably Buddhism.
I was gonna say probably not Hinduism.
I'm a terrible person. Okay, I don't know a lot about other religions. There.
Well, I was gonna say folks, people watching forgive our, and I would say forgive our ignorance. We both don't know. So yeah. Anyway,
go ahead. I've already been canceled twice this episode. Anyway. I watched that a lot, but I don't remember hardly anything. I remember liking it. I can't tell you much. And then you had Wayne Newton as the dragon. Mushu? No, Mushu was fucking Eddie Murphy.
Mulan. Yeah, from the movie Mulan in like 2001 or some shit.
Yeah, I don't remember what Wayne Newton's dragon character name was.
No, it was Mushu.
But you know what I mean. They did have a dragon. It was voiced by not Wayne Newton. Who plays Newman?
Paul Newman. Right?
Newman from Seinfeld.
Wait, no shit. Fuck is that man's name? Not Paul Newman. Newman Seinfeld. All right. Let's see. Watch it. If it was a snake, watch Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight. Wayne Newton's a magician.
You want to try that word one more time? You combine magician and musician.
What?
You said Wayne Newton's a musician.
Yeah, I said he's a musician.
Oh, okay. No. The first time you said a musician.
Oh, okay.
Like you combine magician and musician.
Dojo. Yeah. Dojo Kanojo Cho.
Good lord.
But Dojo is just what they called him. His full name was Dojo Kanojo Cho.
Like I said, I have not thought about that show in so long. Shout out to that fucking show where it's Alan Showdown.
Yeah, dog. And he looked doofy and acted like he was a useless dragon, but he had his moments where he's like, nigga, I'm a fucking dragon, recognize, and he looked cool and it's like awesome because he transformed into his real form.
Do you remember the Zeta Project?
Never watched it. Yeah, I loosely kind of remember it.
It didn't last long.
Oh, okay.
I remember wanting to check it out and like being like, "Oh, this is cool." And I forgot what the hell it was about. I think it was on some Terminator. We gotta, defend the world from robots type of shit. But whatever it was about, it didn't last long.
Speaking of robots, did you watch Megas XLR?
No.
It was a short series that was like an American giant mech parody deal. And the chorus of the theme song literally was like, "Chicks dig giant robots, dig giant robots, dig giant robots." Nice.
I'm looking at the picture of this, the still.
Yeah, you had a giant robot car. You gotta find first gear in your giant robot car.
I never watched this show, but I remember seeing one of the people in there.
I saw the first episode. I saw an episode that involved Regis Philbin, and I have not seen a lot of the rest of it. Because it was very short run, came out around late high school, early college. and my schedule just never allowed me to watch it, and it never caught on enough to like be a long-standing show. But all the people I know of my age group that watched it fucking love it. It's a like cult classic.
I never checked it out because, to be honest, like I said, I remember seeing like from that picture, I remember like seeing a little bit of what it looked like with, you know, trailers or pictures or whatever. From the picture I just saw, to refresh my memory, I didn't watch it because I thought it looked kind of dumb. But apparently it was amazing. You don't like
giant robots. I like giant robots.
I never said I didn't like giant robots.
Well, that's it. But that was enough for me. American giant robot cars. I was like, yeah, I do love giant robots. That is nice. Do chicks actually dig giant robots? Who knows?
Well, what was I gonna say? I think I've already brought up on this show somewhere back in like our archive or whatever. I think I said something. I asked you before. Did you remember Mummies Alive back in the day?
He's got the mummies. He's got the mummies. Protectors of the new Ramses. He's got the mummies. They're hanging by the Frisco Bay. Got the mummies. They're gonna save the world today. Those yes.
Mummies Alive.
No, I love that. That show had a very catchy theme song, and I was target demographic on top of it. I loved the shit out of Mummies Alive when I was younger. Also, don't remember shit about it. I can tell you the names of the characters from fucking Shaolin Showdown. I can't tell you the Mummies Alive characters off the name of my top of my head, or whatever I was supposed to say there.
You said top of my head. You said it right.
I said off the name of the top of the name.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear all that.
Yeah, I was like, I scrolled up.
No, I'm watching. I'm looking at it on Google to see, and I couldn't tell you none of the motherfuckers that, you know, the people in this show either. But I remember watching this show and loving it, and I remember all of a sudden it went away, and it was like, yeah, because the motherfucking show had one season.
Okay, that explains it.
That's why all of a sudden it was like
we were among the few people watching it because that shit got canceled. They're like, this ain't popular enough, get it out of here.
And I'm looking at it, and I mean, it's only got 29 ratings on Google reviews, which is hardly anybody, because Google reviews always has like in the 10,000s at least for a lot of shit. So it's got 29 ratings, but it's got a 4.8. So the people who did watch it remember it fondly.
They love the shit out of it. Yeah, it's one of those things where everybody who watched it, well, not everybody, but for talking's sake, everybody who watched it loved it.
Remember that shit fondly. That was a good show.
It is remembered favorably, to borrow a phrase from someone I know, by many.
Remember Big Bad
Beetleborgs. Do you remember Beetleborgs Metallics, where it was pretty much the same theme song, but then they threw in the term Metallics? Like they had some guy yell Metallics.
No.
That was like one of the later seasons, or like the second or third season, where they had the same transformations to the Beetleborgs, but they had like more metallic looking outfits, and it was like Beetleborgs Metallics. So it would do the Big Bad Beetleborgs, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and then like for whatever reason that theme song, when it like got to the for that season, when it got to the like end, it's like Big Bad Beetleborgs Metallics
I didn't watch that
Metallics. I remember that shit. I don't remember shit about that because it also probably did not last long. And yeah, speaking of series that had a theme song that made me watch the show as a kid, and then they later had another version where they just threw in an extra word, Mucha Lucha.
Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha.
It's a way of life. Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha. But then they later had Mucha Lucha Gigante. So it'd be like Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha. It's a way of life. Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha Gigante. And it's the same fucking theme song.
Mucha Lucha is one of those shows where when you think back to it, for all intents and purposes, whatever your age, that show we should have thought that was the corniest shit ever. They did some of the most unfunny shit that was somehow funny on that fucking show.
Yep. Zapatos de ratas. Fucking flea.
I love
you remember like IRL wrestler named Ricochet? He used to do like a 640 or whatever, or 630, whatever the hell his like
which is crazy
thing
it's
where
like
you roll into a ball and do that.
It's like
called
1
that,
and 3/4 rotations.
when he used to do that, I called that the pulverizing pinball. Because he's literally named Ricochet, and I was kind of mad he didn't call it the pulverizing pinball.
Pulverizing pinball. It might be shit. I mean, whether he wanted to or not, he probably couldn't anyway because of copyright.
Well, the pulverizer has some kind of reference to the pulverizing pinball.
I'm sorry if this motherfucker.
If you're gonna rip off the character's name just straight up anyway.
Who said he ripping off the shit, bro? Ricochet.
As a
Ricochet
wrestler,
is a fucking verb.
think of you a verb. How about that?
I mean, jazz is a noun.
And it can be a verb. Let's jazz this up a bit.
Okay, so there you go. See?
Yeah, think of you
Oh,
a
I
verb.
am. Okay. Fuck. Shout out to old girl who used to work for Smosh and now does her own thing. Oh, Omari. Anyway, there was somebody who used to work for Smosh that I used to watch. This fucking fine ass Asian woman, and she went by Atomic Mark. Anyway.
Oh, I thought you said her name was Omari. I was like,
No, her name was Mari. She would go by Atomic Mari. You still might be able to find her on YouTube under Atomic Mari. But yeah, she was cool as hell.
Cool.
Anyway, I don't watch Smosh because I never really found Smosh funny. But for whatever reason, I found myself watching Smosh Pit, which is like the behind the scenes of them doing the skits where they play games or do certain stuff where it's just the people. And I found myself watching those, and I was like, and I still find it so interesting. I'm like, I like watching the stuff with these people where they're just, obviously you're gonna turn up a little bit for camera. I mean, we unintentionally do that. But we unintentionally do that because whenever you turn a camera on, it still is a show to an extent, a performance. But
it was interesting.
I'm like, damn, I find myself watching Smosh Pit, the behind the scenes with just the people. And I like that more. But when they get out here and they gotta do these skits or try to perform and do all this shit, I'm like, that's corny to me. And I'm like, damn. So I guess it goes to show that I like the people, but I just don't like the writing and shit they gotta do.
Yeah.
So I think that's so interesting. I never found Smosh interesting. Hey, more power to them. What is it? Ian Hecox, Anthony Padilla, like them motherfuckers have etched their legacy into the pantheon of YouTube and internet celebrity, like them. Period.
Understand.
So shout out to that shit. I was watching a video earlier today of somebody interviewing Red and Link. You know Red and Link, right?
Yeah, and wait, no.
They've been part of YouTube since YouTube started back in like early 06.
Oh, what did they do?
They got this show now called Good Mythical Morning, where Monday through Friday they have a show, and they do all types of wild shit. Like they try weird shit. They try to guess certain things. They have guests on there. Shit, Becky Lynch came through. The New Day came through. Padma Lakshmi, who was like I forget. She's like a foreign chef. She came through. Post Malone came through.
Cool.
Fucking Elijah Wood. They had all kind of people come through that shit. But like they guest stuff, they play games, they do all kind of shit. The shit usually lasts 15 to 20 minutes. And they do it Monday through Friday. It's recorded stuff, but they typically are able to post it at 5 a.m. every Monday through Friday.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, they've done like 2,300 and something fucking episodes since they started doing this shit. And they didn't start their channel doing this. They started doing this shit back in like 2012, 2013. They started off doing other shit, got famous for that, and then migrated. So it shows you they done 2,300 plus episodes, and not from the inception of when they started doing it. That's how hard they work. But you want to talk about YouTubers making money, whether you know them or not. These motherfuckers had a fucking big ass studio with different rooms for different shows they do Over here, we got just the cooking show. Over here, we got our main show. Over here, we got our podcast. Over here, we got their podcast. Over here, we have our green room. Over here, we have our lunch room. Over here, we have just the hangout room. And it was like this big ass fucking studio that was just their studio. And they said they had like 120 employees and all this shit. And I'm like, bruh, YouTube money? What? Yeah, can't nobody say being a YouTuber is not a legitimate job. They motherfuckers multi-millionaires.
That saying YouTuber is not a legitimate job is the same as saying literally any other entertainer is not a legitimate job, which is to say you write unless you win the lottery. I'll give you that too. I'm not discrediting any entertainers out there, but the starving entertainer, the struggling artist is a stereotype for a reason. Because 95% of them will never make the amount of money or come anywhere near the amount of money that the 5% do.
Shout out to my dude Watsky, who I like, and actually kind of inspired some of my rapping. But he got that one song that he did that dude Spose. What do you say? It takes smart skills and dumb luck. That's why there's billionaire dumb fucks and geniuses driving dump trucks. I love that line. Yeah, it's true shit. Because it's like there's a whole huge level of hustle and drive and push and skill and time and whatever you got to put into it. But at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to just getting lucky. Like, so yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of motherfuckers out there, whether it be YouTube or whatever, where they just had that one thing that everybody knew them from, and that was their catapult. And then there's a lot of people who try forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and unfortunately, they only make it but so far. So that's why at the end of the day, if you're gonna do shit like this, you got to get to a point where you do it more for the fulfillment of you liking it, and not so much for like it can't be all contingent on I have to make it. There has to be a level of I gotta do it because I can't not imagine like not doing it. Like for instance, Whatever We Want podcast.
What are you talking about? We got all that YouTube money. We've been in this for years. We've been in the YouTube game for years, Jazz. Maybe not as the Whatever We Want podcast, but you and me, we hardcore YouTubers. Let's stop lying to the people. You know we got that YouTube money. As we both sit in like apartment bed.
I was just about to say we might have been trying for years.
I can't even.
I was about to say we might have been trying off and on for years.
I can't even joke like that.
We haven't made one penny off of YouTube yet.
No, streaming. I streamed every day for a year, and what I got to show for it, and this is after reaching the affiliate status with Twitch, where you can have ads and subscriptions and all that. And the amount of money I made was $57 that I couldn't even access.
Why couldn't you access it?
Because they only pay it out to you once you reach increments of like 100. Damn. So it was you gotta get 43. You gotta get $43 more before you can get it. I did finally get a payment from it this summer, so that was cool.
That's good.
But yeah, but it was just funny that I'm like I streamed every day for an entire year. And well, let's see what I got. $57. Awesome. So it's hard out here. Like the money's out there, but boy, do you gotta be lucky to get it.
Yeah, there's a huge level of you have to believe that you can get it. There's a huge level of luck, just in general, whoever you are. There's a huge level of drive and hustle you got to put behind it. You know, and there's a huge level of just studying how other people got famous. Because one thing I've been looking at, you ever heard this dude named Mr. Beast?
Yeah. Dude who was born rich and decided to use it to be richer by giving money to people on YouTube.
If you actually listen to his story, he was not born rich by any means.
I was told he was born rich, and he took advantage of that and was like, rather than use my inheritance to be an asshole, I'm gonna give money to other people on YouTube. And then he became even richer, and he's just like, well, now I've got too much money, so I'll just keep giving people money.
Unless he's either full of shit or I misinterpreted the interviews that I saw of him, he was very much not born rich.
Ah, fair.
Yeah, his thing was like he wasn't born poor, but he was not born rich. No, but he said that like he's one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform with the views he gets and the money he makes off the shit. Motherfucker making like 100 and something million.
Yeah, like, he made money off of giving other people money. However, he got his money to begin with.
But I'm talking about like there's a lot of skill and a lot of study that you got to put into shit because he said he's 23, man. It's just like crazy. I admire that dude. He said that to probably an unhealthy amount, he said all he would do is just obsess over how to get big on YouTube. He was like, I'm studying YouTube and how to get big on YouTube and what makes this YouTuber big and how do I do this and studying all down to like the increments. All he talked about with his friends was YouTube to the point where they told him, shut up. And he was like studying this and this and that. And eventually it paid the fuck off. And I'm like, good for you. And he said, he was like, what he would do is he would give somebody maybe $1 or then he might do the whole $10. Then from the money he got off, he started making off of YouTube. Then he would do like $100. Then he started making more and he's like, okay, I got 10K and I'm gonna give this away. So he said all he was thinking about was just investing back in the channel. I'm like, to be 23 and already be thinking long-term and mature like that. So nah, good for you, dude. But anyway, shout out to Mr. Beast. Shout out to us. Good for him. Good for us. And if you want to keep the goodness flowing, then you can go ahead and follow us on our respective socials. So if you would like to follow yours truly, then you can go ahead and check me out anywhere you stream your music, any platform under the name Superjaz, which is spelled Superjaz. You can go ahead and look up the debut solo album I dropped a year ago called My Secret Identity. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity, because I'm not so famous yet. Also, if you want to go ahead and find me on Twitter, look me up under the handle Superjaz2, which is Superjaz number 2. Just had my 4-year Twitter anniversary, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I only started it to promo music. And it was fruitful for a minute, too. I need to get back into that swing, but yeah, it was pretty fruitful. And then also, of course, if you want to, you can find and follow me on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz. The word forever is spelled correctly. Where can they find you, sir?
Well, obviously, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube under feogrande. That is F-E-O Grande. I mentioned earlier that I have a podcast on that show, on that channel as well, called This Guy Hasn't Seen with my good friend Bill Smith, where we talk about movies back and forth. This last week was Bamboozled. This week was Pop Star. Never Stop, Never Stoppin'. So you can check that out. It's new episodes every week, every Tuesday. You can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by. It's October, and you know what that means. It's Giotavi War Month. October's my favorite month. God of War's my favorite game. There's a new God of War game coming out in November, so I'm playing through the whole series this month and going right into Ragnarok. Should be fun.
I just realized what I didn't do this month. I'm a terrible best friend. No! Happy birthday! What the fuck?
Oh yeah, my birthday was last week.
Holy shit! I did not fucking even think to call you.
It happens, man.
No!
It happens. I'm not even sure if I called you on yours.
I think you did.
Oh.
And whether you did or whether you didn't, this ain't no, well, you got me, so I got you. You didn't know. What the fuck?
It's fine.
Happy fucking birthday.
Well, thank you, sir.
As I say, 5 days later. Oh, shit. I mean, we just pulled back the curtain, obviously, then, if I said 5 days.
No, you didn't. I didn't say when it was. I just said it was last week.
Okay. All right, well, yeah. But either way, we pull back the curtain if you say it was last week to show that we not, recording this necessarily the day we drop it.
Oh, we peeled that curtain off numerous times. We did that earlier this episode. You're like, whenever we release this episode.
Well, either way, no, that's half pulling back, but not necessarily depending on how you swing it. But either way, everybody, if there are people out there watching who care to do this, everybody in the comments, even if we get one comment, this would be dope. Say happy birthday, Omari. That'd be the shit. All right. Also,
thank you.
First Sunday every month, we also have, because we can never shut up about wrestling in general, we also have a wrestling podcast that we talk about every month. We talk about the wrestling findings and what happened in the world of wrestling in the previous month, and it drops first Sunday wrestling on this same channel. And one thing I've been doing lately is, I guess we've been shadow banned or whatever's going on. Our viewership dipped. We weren't getting a lot of views, but we were getting more than we have been getting. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we've been shadow banned. So I got to ask y'all now, if you could hit that notification bell so you know when Whatever We Want podcast is popping up. Go ahead, once you get us that view, give us that like, subscribe, all that good shit. And yeah. I mean, maybe we're gonna talk about your birthday again, seeing as how I need a fucking reminder. But what are we gonna talk about next time?
Whatever we want.
Be nice to yourself, everybody.
Adiosness.